Hello everyone. Today we are starting international relations and the month is March 2020. This is our 17th class. So if you have not watched our 1 to 16 lecture, please go in the playlist and watch them all. We have already completed many topics from those 16 lectures. So in the month of March only 4 topics came which were important for you. And in those, one multi-party interim appeal arbitration arrangement at WTO, I have included this in this PowerPoint for your convenience. But this topic I have already told you about in economy section. So this is completed. So only 3 topics. Now the question arises that where can you find the PPT of this lecture? For the time being, later we will be uploading it somewhere, for example our website. But for the time being, we have made an arrangement that you can go to Telegram and you can type evolution IAS official, and there you will find the PowerPoints. So these 3 topics we are going to do today in very short lecture. Also wherever the need arises, mapping will be included because international relation without mapping is not complete. Agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan. So what were the causes that USA signed an agreement with kind of terrorist organization Taliban, not directly, but obviously they had been giving protection to terrorist organizations, but still USA signed a deal. So we should know what was the condition that happened. Indian Ocean Commission. India has become a part of this very good governing commission and India is getting extra mileage because of that. So we'll try to understand what is Indian Ocean Commission. Non-proliferation treaty. India is not signing this treaty for a long time. Still India wants to get entry in the NSG, nuclear supplier group, but the conditions are like you must be a signee of this non-proliferation treaty. So 50 years have been completed of this NPT agreement. So we'll try to understand what is non-proliferation treaty. So let us start with agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan. So come to Doha. Doha capital is named as Doha and the country is Qatar. Okay, this country is situated on Arabian Peninsula. So in this place, Doha of the country of Qatar, US and Taliban came together, not the Afghanistan government. US and Taliban have come together and they have signed a historic agreement. That agreement is agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan. Overall, the summary is that USA will be withdrawing all its troops from Afghanistan, and in return, Taliban will talk with the internal government of Afghanistan for bringing peace to Afghanistan, and they are saying that if you withdraw your troops outside Afghanistan, you go back to your home USA, we will not be involving ourselves in terrorist activities and we will not be allowing our land to be used by terrorist organization. So that is the agreement summary. First of all, let's go to Doha. Let us do some mapping. This is your Arabian Peninsula, right? This is your Arabian Peninsula, this whole portion. Start from the northwest. Here you see Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, these are Israel territories. Then we have Jordan. So can you see Jordan boundary doesn't touch with Mediterranean Sea. Israel's does. In between Egypt in Africa and Israel we have Sinai Peninsula. There was a war for the Sinai Peninsula between Israel and Egypt, and it is said that Israel occupied this territory. Above that you will see Syria. Syria also has opening in Mediterranean Sea. So this is the map around Mediterranean Sea. Jordan capital is Amman. Recently, Israel's capital Tel Aviv have been shifting to Jerusalem, and USA transferred their diplomatic place in Jerusalem instead of Tel Aviv. But this Jerusalem is a matter of conflict between Islam, Christianity and Judaism also. So that's having a huge diplomatic effect on various Muslim countries between USA and Muslim countries. And Palestine does not want Jerusalem to go to Israel. Okay, that's a small topic. Now between Africa and Arabian Peninsula you have Red Sea. Okay, here you have Saudi Arabia, the biggest country and holding so many, for example, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OPEC countries. This country Saudi Arabia has lots of effect there, lots of power there. Okay, so this is very important country. Medina, Makkah, religious places of Islam, religious places of Hajj. Capital is Riyadh. Let's go to lower portion. Here you have Yemen and here you have Oman. Understand now. Yemen is having civil war. Capital is Sana'a. We evacuated our people from Yemen because Yemen is having civil war, and it is said that the the previous ruler was deposed from this country by Houthi rebels, and those Houthi rebels were supported by Iran. Now Iran has rivalry with Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia wanted the previous government to stay, that was Sunni government, and Iran supported Houthi rebels, those were Shia, because Iran is Shia country and Saudi Arabia is Sunni country, that is the conflict. So that ruler was deposed, and now slowly your Houthi rebels are occupying this territory in Yemen. There were some attacks, rocket attacks on Saudi Arabia's oil facility that were done from Yemen side. Above that you have Oman, Muscat. This is a very peaceful country, no problem. This is United Arab Emirates. Why Emirates? There are 7 Emirates involved and the capital is Abu Dhabi. Relatively liberal country. Then you have this Qatar, capital is Doha. Here this agreement was signed, because this is a place where USA also finds convenience, and this terrorist organization and Taliban also can somehow go backdoor and start talking. So convenient for both of them. Here you have Bahrain, capital is Manama. Then you have Kuwait. Can you see Iraq? Here is Tigris and Euphrates river, both come in Persian Gulf, and alongside that you have Kuwait. Saddam Hussein occupied Kuwait, and then George Senior Bush attacked Iraq, and somehow this Kuwait was saved. Above that you have Iran. This port is very important, Bandar Abbas. Here you have Gulf of Oman. And you can't see in map, but if you go along Iran, in Balochistan area, you have Chabahar port where India is involved, and from Chabahar port, by cutting Iran, you go to Afghanistan and above in Central Asia. Let us see some important places in Afghanistan also. Afghanistan has many provinces. So I will not be telling you about all provinces, but understand that here is Iran, here is Afghanistan, then you have Pakistan, then comes India. So when India and Pakistan were making a oil gas pipeline, so that was IPI pipeline, that was not cutting through Afghanistan but coming from the below portion. Okay, that project was stalled because Pakistan could not complete its portion, and Pakistan also doesn't want India to get involved. So Iran-Pakistan India pipeline was disrupted and it is on hold for a long time. But we have one project from Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, TAPI. That pipeline, gas pipeline, is also on hold for a long time, stalled because of terrorist activities and funding issues. So here above you have this country Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan and India. That is TAPI pipelines map. Here can you see Helmand province? There are many terrorist activities in Helmand province. It is said that your Al-Qaeda and Taliban are occupying many territories in Afghanistan, and they almost control 1/3 already. Helmand province has seen many violence problems. Here is Mazar-e-Sharif, where our diplomatic mission is there, and it faced a terrorist attack from Al-Qaeda, Mazar-e-Sharif. Can you see this small location, Bamiyan? We had very old, before Jesus Christ period, we had very old Buddha sculpture here in Bamiyan Buddha, it was called. This was destroyed by Taliban during its uprising, where they said that this sculpture and everything is against Islam. So Bamiyan issue came here. Capital is Kabul. Here, this is the province Ghazni, from where your Muhammad Ghazni came to India. And here comes the Kandahar, which was previously called Gandhar. So enough mapping. Now come to the agreement. US says that it will withdraw. First of all, it will draw down. Draw down means reducing the troops. 8,600 troops will be taken out from Afghanistan in next 135 days. It was signed in March. Okay, this is March current affair. So 135 days, 8,600 troops will be withdrawn. Also, not only USA, the NATO and other coalition troops are there, because US is part of NATO. So wherever the US fights, NATO forces also go. There are other coalition forces also. So those withdrawal will be proportionately. According to the number USA withdraws its troops, NATO forces will also be withdrawn, coalition forces will also be withdrawn. And the final, see, all troops will be withdrawn within 14 months. 8,600 in next 135 days, and all troops will be withdrawn in 14 months. And all will mean what? Also your intelligence personnel. Also non-diplomatic civilian personnel also. Diplomatic personnel will stay, right? They will stay. The commissioner and everything, high commissioner and everything will stay. But intelligence personnel and any non-diplomatic civilian personnel, if staying there, that personnel will also be withdrawn from there. So what is the commitment by Taliban? Taliban says that if you do this, we will not allow any of our members, other individuals or groups also, including Al-Qaeda, to use the soil of Afghanistan to threaten the security of the United States and its allies. Okay, but problem is that in Afghanistan you have many anti-India terrorists also. For example, Lashkar-e-Taiba has a huge base in Afghanistan. Jaish-e-Mohammed also has some origin from Afghanistan. This agreement does not talk about India. This agreement does not talk about Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. So that is a matter of concern for India. India thinks that if these Taliban forces come again, Al-Qaeda come again, they will plan an attack on terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir with the Pakistan support, because Pakistan is supporting these terrorist organizations Al-Qaeda and Taliban. Taliban is not said to be a terrorist organization completely, but yeah, they have been supporting Al-Qaeda in governance system. In fact, our plane was hijacked, and Afghanistan government that time, Taliban, completely supported those Al-Qaeda terrorists. Agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan also says that the agreement states ceasefire will simply an item on the agenda. Ceasefire is just an item on the agenda. What does that mean? When intra-Afghanistan talks start, that means we have in Afghanistan various political forces, currently the ruling government. So when those talks start, that time only actual ceasefire will come. And when the completion of this Afghanistan political agreement is done inside Afghanistan, right now USA and Taliban are talking, but later Afghanistan political parties will talk, currently ruling government and then Taliban, everyone will talk. When those talks are completed, then only the ceasefire will be completely done. Okay, so Taliban has been taking so many concessions here. You can see that United Nations sanction on Taliban leaders will be removed by 3 months. By May 19, 2020, they are saying that any sanction on Taliban leaders, political leaders, will be removed, and US sanction will be removed by August 27, 2020. UN sanction will be removed first, then United States will also remove. What are the factors responsible for a deal where Taliban is taking so much mileage? First of all, war fatigue. This war started since 2001 and it is an endless war. Slowly the Taliban is occupying the lost territory they had. So this is a war fatigue. And the internal situation of USA is that many organizations, many people are saying that you have spent so much money in Afghanistan and the results are zero. Many of the people have died. So please take out the money and resources from there, forces from there, and utilize it in a good way. This is an outside matter. War fatigue. And this is not about USA. The NATO partners also are feeling the heat. And it's almost, you can say, 2 decades period. In 2021, it will be completed, 20 years. Financial aspect, I already told you, the official data says that when the war began in 2001, already 822 billion US dollars have been spent. And that is without inclusion of any spending in Pakistan, because this war also has some expenditure in Pakistan. So many bases are made in Pakistan by the USA, but those are not included even then $822 billion. Only that? No, huge war casualties. Since the war began in 2001, this war, you already know, this war came in the reaction when your Al-Qaeda terrorist bombarded, or you can say with the plane they attacked many multi-story buildings in your USA. In fact, World Trade Center, one of the longest or tallest buildings, was completely destroyed, and I think 4,000 to 5,000 people died that day. US forces have suffered more than 2,300 deaths and 20,000 soldiers are injured in this action. Apart from that, in fact, more people have died in Taliban government's forces, many people. But we are talking about USA right now. Public pressure. I told you, US citizens don't want any more war. They are saying that there is huge pressure to, they are saying that, US political parties are saying that from citizen side there is huge pressure to disengage from any unnecessary war. Political promise also, because US President Donald Trump had said that they will bring peace to Afghanistan area and they will bring out their forces, because this is a huge expenditure on US government. So now USA President has to fulfill those promises. Even if he doesn't want, he has to fulfill political agenda. I have included this infographic. You can see later in your PowerPoint. Next topic is Indian Ocean Commission. This is a very good topic. Why? India has become an observer in the Indian Ocean Commission. So, getting Indian Ocean Commission's observer status, what does that mean? How does that benefit India? This Indian Ocean Commission is responsible for maritime governance in Western Indian Ocean. What is Western Indian Ocean? Western Indian Ocean consists of these islands nations like Madagascar, Comoros, Island. Reunion Island is anyway French overseas territory. Remember that it is in Union. This Reunion Island is present in Western Indian Ocean, but the territory belongs to France. Also Mauritius and Seychelles. All these countries are in Western Indian Ocean. By getting an observer status in Indian Ocean Commission, India will have some participation in the governance of this maritime region. So Indian Ocean Commission is an intergovernmental body created in 1984. And what is the purpose? To protect the interest of the Western Indian Ocean islands, because these islands are not self-sustainable. So we need various countries to support them. So whenever a country is supporting them, they will get some benefit also politically. So the commission has 5 observers already. Now India is included, so 4 observers already. China was also present. European Union completely. A country Malta also. And one organization, International Organization for La Francophonie. What is that? This organization, OIF, is a organization made by collecting these 54 French speaking nations. 54 French speaking nations. Why this? You see, they are one country, Reunion. This country also belongs to France. So for protecting these countries, 54 French speaking nations came together and made a collective organization, that is La Francophonie. So this is an observer. China is an observer. European Union is an observer. Malta is an observer. And now India has also become an observer, not Pakistan. If you want to see the map, see this blue map should not confuse you. This is territory, okay? This is solid thing, okay? The white one is ocean actually. So your India, lovable India. Here comes the Indian Ocean, Western Indian Ocean area. See the nearest one, Seychelles, okay? Then you have Madagascar. This is counted in Africa only. Union of Comoros, and this is Reunion Island, French territory, and here comes the Mauritius. All these countries are somehow close to India politically also, and also you can say that geographically also. So what is the gain for India by becoming an observer in this Indian Ocean Commission? This is all related to Indo-Pacific. Indo-Pacific, a geostrategic location USA and India have been creating. This is all related to that. India will get an official foothold in a premier regional institution in the Western Indian Ocean. This will boost engagement with islands in this part of the Indian Ocean. Very general statement, not a problem. India has an Indo-Pacific policy which is supported by USA, somehow to counter China. If India becomes strong in this Western Indian Ocean, obviously sometimes we can utilize it for logistics, for making ports, for making naval bases. Maybe that can happen. This move would enhance ties with France also, because it is the strong global power in the Western Indian Ocean. That is why those 54 French are speaking nations, right? So France is very strong in these islands. So that will bring France and India close also. Also, it lends depth to India's Sagar initiative. Sagar initiative is security and growth for all in the region. This is for Indian Ocean security and safety initiative by India. So by becoming member of that organization, Indian Ocean Commission, India will strengthen its Sagar initiative also. It was launched in 2015. You should Google about Sagar initiative and write some 4 to 5 sentences below this video. The move would lead to greater security cooperation with countries in East Africa. I told you already these countries are part of East Africa only, considered part of continent of Africa only. So other East Africa countries also will be cooperated with this initiative. The move will, now the main point, the move will also strengthen western flank of the Indo-Pacific and is a stepping stone to security cooperation with East Africa. Now you should know that what is Indo-Pacific. This whole area, here is your Western Indian Ocean, where India has got a seat observer. This whole area you can see, Australia also partly, Oceania, Micronesia, Polynesia, all. This is the Indo-Pacific. Only the part very East Pacific Ocean is not included along the USA coast and South America coast. Otherwise, whole Indian Ocean and huge part of Pacific is included. What is Indo-Pacific? This term came politically. This is the place where there are many conflicts. China has conflicts in southern Indian Ocean, southern Pacific Ocean, which is called South China Sea, है ना? East China Sea conflicts are also there. In all these territories, we have huge trade passes along these countries. Whether it's Thailand, whether it's Indonesia, there are various passes, various trade and transaction routes which contribute to global trade, maritime trade. Okay. So whichever country becomes strong in this region can control or choke other countries' trade. So China was trying to be very strong, but all these countries, Southeast Asian countries, you can say, were infuriated by Chinese expansionist policy. So they want help from India. For bringing help from India, USA also supported this initiative of Indo-Pacific, and India and USA, Japan and Australia are collaborating in this region to secure and make the Indo-Pacific Ocean strong and safe from China. Even then, you will see sometimes that China will send its submarine through this route and it will go to this Pakistan, Karachi port. So problems happen, but still we are trying to become strong in this region. China is also doing this a string of the pearl theory. They are creating many naval ports in this region, whether it's Sri Lanka, Myanmar, or some African countries also. We are also trying to counter them. So good enough mapping. Now come to Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which completed 50 years. 2020 marks the 50th anniversary of the entry into force of the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. Shortly it is called NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty. Objective of this treaty is to be said that this treaty will try to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and weapon technology related to nuclear weapon. Also to promote cooperation in the peaceful usage of nuclear energy. The peaceful civilian usage should happen, but war and weapon usage should not enhance or should not increase. And this will somehow lead to achievement of a part of nuclear disarmament. This was opened for signature in 1968, came in force in 1970. That is why 2020 marks the 50th anniversary. And in 1995, this treaty was extended indefinitely. Currently, it has 191 member states, and 5 nuclear weapon states have already joined it. Can you tell me those countries? Obviously, USA, China, France, England, and Russia. Treaty also establishes a safeguard system, that nuclear safeguard systems, and those safeguard systems are coming by responsibility of International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. Can you tell me the 4 or 5 statements about sentences about IAEA, when this organization was created? Is it part of UN? Is India part of IAEA? So why the safeguards? Safeguards are for verifying the compliance to this treaty. If you sign the treaty and you are creating nuclear weapons, then inspections will be done, and those inspections will be done by IAEA. Now see the member countries of NPT. Can you see? Green ones are NPT partners with nuclear weapons. USA, United Kingdom. Sorry, this is France, this is United Kingdom. 3 countries, Russia and China. These 5 countries are having nuclear weapons and still they have signed this treaty. There are many countries which are NPT parties without nuclear weapons. See, all these blue colored countries are NPT parties, those are not having nuclear weapons. These black colored or grey colored countries are those countries which are having nuclear, which are not NPT signee. In those, can you see India and Pakistan both are having nuclear weapons, they have not signed the NPT, because NPT has certain situations where those countries which already had nuclear weapons before this NPT agreement came in 1970, those are not affected. But any country developing nuclear weapon after this treaty came into force in 1970, it becomes member of this organization, NPT. Those countries will be severely affected. Their military agenda and civilian agenda about nuclear development will be affected. That is why India, Pakistan, those countries are not signing it. India says that this is very discriminatory organization. Earlier, North Korea was also part of it, but withdrew because North Korea had to develop nuclear weapon, and it developed very well. So India is not non-party. Israel is also non-party, and it is said that Israel also has nuclear weapons. North Korea has, yes, Pakistan has. South Sudan is also not a party, but this country is not having the nuclear weapons. So what are the issues that India is not signing this NPT? First of all, India says that this proposal, NPT treaty, is having no tangible, or I mean the things we can see or feel, no specific disarmament roadmap, not prescribed, no reference to test ban also, or the freezing or production of either fissile material or nuclear weapon. Nothing is properly mentioned. There is no proper roadmap. Also, India says that this is a system of haves and have-nots. Those having the nuclear weapon already before this treaty was signed are benefited, and those developing nuclear weapons when this treaty after 1970, those countries are affected severely. India says that this is about have and have-nots. Discriminatory. Though if USA wants to proliferate, that is okay. UK wants to proliferate, that is okay. But not India and Pakistan. So that means horizontal proliferation is prohibited, but the vertical one is not prohibited. So what is vertical proliferation? If you are having the nuclear weapon already and you are developing projects over it, you are advancing your nuclear weapon, modernizing, that is vertical proliferation, that is allowed. And what is horizontal proliferation? That means if you are transferring your nuclear technology to the other countries, that is prohibited. So that is all in this lecture. See you tomorrow. We will do the April month international relation topics.